Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. This is going to be the start of a short series or long series, depending on how keen Megan is to do these. It's going to be us talking about our experiences of traveling around Australia full time, things to help future travelers, and just to give you a bit of insight on how it was for us and what we did. We're Joss and Megan, and after 2 years of living full time on the road in a rooftop tent, we learnt a lot. Now we're here to share what worked, what didn't, and everything we wish we knew before we started. So a bit of background, we started traveling in 2022 and we traveled for 2 years non-stop, and we decided to do it just because I think after COVID we were like, let's just hit the road, let's quit our jobs, and that was a bit of a tough decision for some of us. And
make it clear, it was tough for Josh.
It was tougher for me leaving with no job and just hitting the road. But look, it was awesome. We planned for 1 year and we ended up going for 2 years, and that was on the back of being able to earn some money on the road. So that's another thing we'll touch on in this series. And then after 2 years, we stopped, and I guess that's kind of this video's topic is why we stopped traveling and what made us kind of put an end to full-time travel. We're back here in Perth now. We've been back for nearly a year. And over a year. So this video is a bit late, but we thought we'd just give some insight on what happens after 2 years and why we decided we're gonna, settle down in a way. So for me, it was I enjoyed a bit more routine, and after 2 years of a different place every day, experiencing different weather, being out in the elements, I guess I felt like I needed a bit more routine, a bit more structure after 2 years of doing that. So that was kind of something for me. And I think bigger picture was more of a financial decision, right?
Yeah, bigger picture. I had to come back and finish off a part of my degree as well. So that was why I had to come back to Western Australia. But also just the way that we'd finished our lap, in the sense that we went to everywhere we wanted to go and we came back into Western Australia, that it was all familiar again, and it kind of not really felt like we were wasting time because we were still enjoying it, but everything was familiar. We were spending money just being to places that we'd been to multiple times before, which that got a bit hard.
Yeah, so we kind of just...
And money, we were down to our last bit of savings.
Yeah.
So, there was a few things of why we stopped, and it felt like the right time. We were still enjoying it. We didn't get to the point where we were over it or anything like that. We weren't missing family or friends. Like we were, but obviously that wasn't a reason why we stopped. It just felt like it was the right time to stop.
Yeah, I think 2 years is a long time.
Yeah, it was.
I know there's plenty of people out there who travel for a lot longer.
And continuing to do the same lap, and that's great.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really what we wanted.
No, I think we weren't big on repeat, like going to the same place.
No, we wanted to experience what we experienced, and then once we had, I think that's when we kind of just knew we're done.
Yeah, so financially it was, we toyed with the idea of continuing up north.
Yeah, we did actually. I probably would have done that actually.
Yeah, but I think fuel and it's just such a big hit, especially in WA when you got to drive those big Ks. So fuel was such a big part of our financial decision.
Yeah.
And then, like Megan said, we were in WA, which we'd done a lot before. Like we had done Margaret River and all that, and that's kind of where we came in, obviously Esperance and that. So it got to the point where we're like, we're ready, and we're lucky enough to have a base in Perth. So we were
our tenants were leaving, so it was the perfect kind of handover and transition into the house.
Yeah.
So that was another reason, wasn't it? Because we weren't confident of extending for another 6 months with the house.
No, exactly.
It was all just kind of lined up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it all just lined up like that. And then we were looking forward to other things like getting a dog. We didn't really want to travel with a dog, so being able to be in Perth, get a dog and get jobs and earn a bit more money and focus on the next chapter was really like the main thing. I guess 2 years is also, for me, it was probably enough full time. You could have gone longer.
I could have gone longer for sure. I think we would have liked to have maybe I could have stopped for a little while, saved up, maybe got like a caravan or something, got out of the rooftop, and then maybe it would have been a different experience. We could have gone slower and it would have been more comfortable. But again, I think, not that we have, but I think we're also ready for a bit more international travel now. I think maybe our priorities are just a little bit beyond what we were doing.
Yeah, that's the repetitive thing. Like we did a lot. I mean, we didn't do everything, but we did a lot in 2 years, and I guess if we were to continue, we'd be doing the same things.
Yeah.
But you touched on a good point. Like another setup would make it a different experience. I think I was getting quite sick of the rooftop tent, up and down, like to go to the toilet at night, and the weather, being in the wind and the rain when it's not great weather is I don't know, it just kills your spirit a bit. And it was fine at the start because it was all new, it was such a novelty. But then towards the end, I don't know, I wasn't loving it as much, being in the rooftop tent.
Yeah, it didn't bother me, but it would have been nice to have the luxuries of like a toilet and a shower. Like that for me was probably where my enjoyment was kind of like, oh, it would be better if we had those comforts.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's not why we stopped traveling, but that if we'd had those comforts, I could have kept traveling.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's another thing. Like, if we had slightly different scenario, then we could have travelled further. And we see a lot of other couples and families travelling longer, and many do have a caravan. So maybe one day we'll get a caravan and do more of Australia. But international, where would you go internationally if you could first?
I think for us, again, because we've got the dog now, we wouldn't go too far. I think we'd do a couple of Asia trips, probably, Southeast Asia. Joss hasn't done much up there, so I'd like to do...
I've done Bali.
Okay. And Japan.
In
I haven't
Japan.
done Japan. But yeah, I think Southeast Asia, just again, for money, at the moment, we're still trying to save up, and think that's definitely something we could achieve. And then long term, I'd love to do a road trip. Again, this is the traveller in me. From Canada through the States down to Mexico. I'd love to do that. But again, logistically with the dog and trying to find an actual setup that we could do that in, that would be like the dream.
Maybe in New Zealand we can, like...
Yeah, New Zealand, I'd compromise for New Zealand.
Like hire something and drive from the top to bottom.
Yeah, that could be a good goal.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd still like to do Canada.
Yeah, one day.
US.
Maybe when the dollar's a bit better.
True.
It's international's hard at the moment.
Yeah, but anything like those type of countries, like touring, is definitely something we still passionate about. We love obviously camping, hiking, beaches, all those type of things. So I think those type of countries with that landscape really appeal to us still.
And since we've been back in Perth, we're obviously working full time, so we haven't been able to travel as much, but we have tried to get out, do the odd camping trip and stuff, and really keep up that. But I don't know, it's winter at the moment, it's not as easy. Being away in summer and stuff. Yeah, we do what we can to get out and continue the content. But it is much harder when we're working full time and not travelling. So it was a bit of an adjustment to come back and start work. There was a lot of days you just reminiscing about
the freedom
of
having time to do whatever you wanted, whenever you wanted. Is what we missed.
Yeah, and it's such a contrast of seeing something brand new every day,
back into routine,
and seeing the same thing every day. You're like, I know it's what majority of people do, so we don't like to complain about it, but just the natural feeling of finishing travelling and then coming back to work.
It was a little jarring, wasn't it?
Yeah, that took a bit of an adjustment, and I think it's just starting to wear off. I think about it a lot.
I mean, I don't have time to think about it a lot. We definitely missed it, and it was an adjustment, but also coming home was exciting.
Yeah.
Moving back into our house, we did a few like little jobs around the house, which was nice little projects.
Yeah, true.
Getting Albie.
We've kept busy in that way.
Yeah.
And that's been exciting.
Yeah, catching up with everyone.
Because those are the things I guess sometimes you miss. So that's pretty much why we stopped travelling, and I guess that's probably a very similar story to many people out there. The novelty might wear off, or financially it's just not doable anymore, which is totally understandable.
Yeah, I think financially for us, like we were making money to spend money, weren't we? We weren't ever saving, obviously.
No.
So that was a priority for us as well. We didn't want to come home to nothing.
Of course, yes.
And then also, we're early 30s. We also got to think long term, which was scary, but it's obviously something we decided that was important to us.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. We extended the trip. Like, we had planned for a year. We went for 2, and so that's a huge win. And the fact that we were able to make that work financially, to extend it or double it is huge.
And I don't think we have any regrets. Like, we didn't really miss...
No.
Like, we missed things, obviously, we couldn't do it all, but we don't have any major regrets of I wish we'd gone here or things like that. I think we did it pretty thoroughly in those 2 years. Yeah,
we didn't go too fast.
No.
I feel like we did what we wanted to do, we did well. Especially places like Tassie and that.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely more remote places I wish we had done. Like, it's not a regret, but in our circumstances, obviously you guys know, our first BT50 wasn't the most... It was reliable, but... we didn't have much faith in it. It got less reliable. So I think that restricted us from going and doing tracks that were a bit more remote and all of that.
I think the fact that we got Starlink towards the end of our trip made it easier for us to do work on the road.
Yeah, and get jobs.
Yeah, so that we were able to be a bit more remote for longer periods then. But if we had that earlier, maybe we could have done different places.
And being home, like we don't regret being home. We felt like it was the right move for us. So
Yeah.
and this little cutie pie.
Yeah, I think traveling, if we were traveling now with a dog, it would be a whole new experience. No national parks, couldn't leave him and stuff. So
And he hates the car, he gets car sick, so it would actually be a nightmare to travel with him.
it would actually. Yeah.
We want to. It'll just be obviously a different experience.
Yeah.
So we're glad we've done that. Pre-kids, pre-dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'd love to see obviously what it'd be like for him because he loves
Being outside.
being outside, loves the water. So he would be the perfect fit. Get him up in the rooftop. So yeah, it's fun.
Thanks for watching. We've got plenty more tips and insights from our travels around Australia. I think next time we'll do our scariest experience while traveling, which
And it's a good one. I don't know if many people had this experience, but we had it twice.
It's a very interesting story and not one I enjoy reminiscing about. But make sure you subscribe for that because that will be a good one. All right, bye.